big bass gonna bite today? I don't know, but I do know one thing. We're sure gonna find out. Whoa, almost got me a little squirrel right there. Glad that boy lived on to chase another squirrel and have fun. All right, last time I went, the bass weren't biting. Let's see what happens this time. So he brought me along a few new hooks, put new line on all my reels. Hello, bass. Here we come. Glad you came along. You see all these white trees along the interstate and about anywhere you go anymore? It's my understanding those are bad news. They grow some vicious thorns on them. You can't even take like a tractor to go in and clear them out. They'll puncture a tractor tire in a heartbeat. Yeah, I was watching an arborist one time talking. He said, anything you got like that on your property, get rid of it now. Once they get big, they are just a real mess. They're pretty though. Yeah, they are just taking over. Pretty invasive. Love to watch the semis roll on down the road. The Hoosier National Forest can be a little deceptive if you're driving from east to west or west to east. It doesn't seem like it's very big. If you're driving from north to south or south to north, oh man. It goes from the Ohio River all the way up to about Bloomington, Indiana. Pretty nice. And remember, folks, only you can prevent forest fires. And it looks like I'm gonna have a little company out here today. Yep, that's what warm weather brings. Looks like it's gonna be a windy day out there.
I like fishing these lakes here. The coast's not that far, you just don't go there that way.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Yep.
If you get a nibble, that's more than what we got.
Alright, I am super excited to be back out on Celina Lake. If you saw the video last time I was here, March 4th, didn't really do any good at all. Actually hooked one, but didn't get it in the boat. Maybe got a couple more bites, and that's about it. So hopefully it's going to go a little different today. But, having said that though, just talked to a couple fishermen getting off the lake when I was putting it on, and they said they didn't hardly have a bite at all today. Water temp is probably still down in the low 50s at least. So maybe it's still a little bit too early. I don't know for sure. Oh, I'm glad to be out here again. Got a lot of stuff done over the weekend. I put new fishing line on almost every one of my reels. I'm really interested to cast my new Lose reel and rod. I'm interested to see now that I put the line on there and I don't have any twist in it, if it's going to work out pretty good or not. When I put the line on it before, I twisted it all up. Okay, First on the lineup today, the lizard I used last time I was here was brown. It's called Carolina, the color Carolina. It was brown with chartreuse tail on it. Didn't do any good with it at all. But then I got to thinking, you know, the lizards I have around the cabin are all black and kind of bluish like. This is called June bug. Go ahead and rig my little June bug lizard up. Maybe we'll do some good, maybe we won't. The wind's kind of playing havoc, even though I've got an anchor down. It's kind of wanting to blow me in the shore. It's just going to be a struggle all day, but hey, wind is like camouflage to your boat out on the water. Wow, what a difference. That right there, I guarantee you, that probably went twice as far as the line I put on there before. So that's the deal. Don't get your line twisted when you put it on your spinning reel, because it's going to be a mess. Even a bait caster, it's going to be a mess. You know, today is supposed to reach 75 degrees. And there's a 15-mile-an-hour wind expected, 15 to 18, somewhere around in there. I pull up and I get the Selvin all ready to go. And of course, I took my sweatshirt off, chunked it in the Jeep Liberty. And every once in a while, a pretty big gust of wind will come up. And I'm thinking, you know, I probably ought to put my sweatshirt on. Guess where my sweatshirt's at? Oh, luckily for me, I always carry a container, and in it I see a flannel shirt, so at least I have that. You know, I was planning on staying out to almost dark, but if it starts getting chilly, I might have shot myself in the foot. Just one of those things you just forget about when you get out here and you get fishing on your brain and you want to see what you can do. It just doesn't happen. Report on the June bug lizard. I thought I got a bite, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to call it a bite. When I thought that I'd got a bite on that lizard, that June bug lizard, first thing I looked for was my net. My net was still tied to all the rods against the side of the Selvin. In my videos, I don't mind showing you that it just kind of be a mess out here. You know, there's so much, unless you're a well-oiled machine and you do this all the time, there's so much make sure you got in place and stuff. And like this right here, I couldn't have used that net. There was no way I could have untied it and that fish would have still been on. Anyways, I put my new net holder right here. There we go. And it'll sit there like that. If I catch that big bass, I've got my net. Wait a minute. All right, you can kind of see conditions aren't too bad right now. I'm thinking about an 8-mile-an-hour wind maybe. Supposed to pick up to about 15, 18 today. We'll see what happens. Now, one nice thing about fishing Celina Lake is the dam is way south. So you actually kind of get on the lake on the north side. This time of year, most of your high winds are coming from the south. So if you get all the way up to the dam and something fails, like your batteries go bad or your trolling motor goes bad, you can always drift back, and with a paddle you can get back. Indian Lake's a little bit different. You almost launch from the south side, and then the big part of the lake is to the north. So a little bit different. Be careful if you head that way. That could be real Next trouble. On the lineup, it is going to be a jerkbait. I noticed on this one here, it said it was a suspending jerkbait. I actually tried it in the kitchen sink. I had some water in the kitchen sink and I actually put it in there, and it does. It wanted to float down just a little bit, like real slow. I'm thinking rather than have a floating one that's going to pop right up, it's going to kind of suspend. So I'm going to have to watch the weeds. You can see it's got some pretty nasty hooks on it. I'm going to have to watch. I may not be able to fish it here. Celina Lake has got an awful lot of weeds. Always got weeds everywhere. It's got ball bearings in it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's got, you can hear them in there. So that gives it the weight to kind of keep it down. Lineup number 2. All right, got lineup number 2, suspending jerkbait. Let's see what happens. All right, this is the jerkbait that I'm using. You can see it wants to sink. Looks like it's got pretty good action to it. So see, it's wanting to sink down just a little bit there. Alright, this is the jerkbait that I'm using. You can see it wants to sink. Looks like it's got pretty good action to it. just wanting to sink down just a little bit there. All right, let's give that a shot. Just heard a couple Air Force jets go over. They're so hard to see because for some reason, and hey, leave it in the comments, how come like a lot of military jets don't leave a vapor trail like a regular commercial jet? It seems like I can hear them up there, and I mean, you can tell they are loud as can be. They don't leave a vapor trail a lot of times. If you know, leave it in the comments. I want to learn some stuff. Yeah, you can tell. Look at this. Celina Lake and Indian Lake are going to be pretty tough fishing a jerkbait, especially one that goes down into the water a little bit. So maybe a suspended jerkbait is not the one to use here. I do have a Rapala floats, so you know, maybe I should try it. Boy, if I get it anywhere close to weeds, man, it just instantly grabs it. That wind keeps on picking up a little bit more. So didn't do any good on the jerkbait, the suspending jerkbait. It was kind of hard to fish because there's pockets of weeds all over the place, and as soon as you get into them, you know, you might as well just reel it in as fast as you can because you just sucked up a bunch of okay. Let's go with the Super Crawl, Zoom Super Crawl creature right here. It's got the salt in it. Let's see what it'll do. This bay I'm at right now is pretty well always fished. I mean, every time I'm here, somebody is in this bay parked. You know, it gets a lot of pressure. I'm getting ready to move across the lake to the other little bay that I kind of like the best. Didn't do any good on there the other day, but I'm going to still try. So I got this guy rigged up here, ready to go. Green pumpkin. I've had my best luck here with green pumpkin than anything else, but I never fished early spring like this. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and move across the lake. I'm not getting any bites here. The day is young for me. You know, I've got my electric winches, but what I found out is, and I really liked them when I first got them, started using them, but it didn't take me long to figure out how noisy they are. So right now, I guess it wouldn't matter, you know, if I'm getting ready to leave this cove anyway. I don't know. I just find the manual ones work pretty good. Onward. Yeah, anytime I come into a cove like this, what I'll do is I'll play the wind. So see, I'm going to go upwind just a little bit, throw my anchor, give enough rope out on my anchor, and then I'll drift with the wind. And I want to be lined up right here in the middle so I can reach all the sides. So I'll go up here a little bit further, lower the anchor in the water, and then I should end up about right in the middle, which is where I want to be. Just got back here to my favorite little bay here on the lake. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pull up, drop the anchor, and I won't fish for a little while. This is a good time for me, like to go ahead and eat some lunch, do something like that. Let it settle in, back in a little bit. If I spooked anything coming in with the trolling motor, I try to go as slow as possible, but it's possible I spook something. I just like to sit here for a little while, enjoy the atmosphere, take some photographs, take some film footage, and then eventually I'll throw something in. So far, been out here probably going on 2 hours, haven't caught a thing, doesn't surprise me. A couple people have already said they haven't really got any bites at all. Glad you took the day off and came out with me. I appreciate it. Listen to all the frogs that started up. That's so funny. They're all across this bay on all sides. See, that's one of those cool things. I was just sitting out here and these frogs just all of a sudden it was like one of them croaked and they all said, "All right, boys, let's give her a hit." And they started croaking all the way around this bay right now. Now they're almost silent again. That was pretty cool. There's so many things to come out here, you know. Fishing is one aspect of it, to try to catch fish, but you know, the other is just to come out here and just enjoy things you normally don't see at home or see at work or see where you live. I straightened up my whole tackle box, took everything out of it, cleaned it up, and probably left about a third of the stuff out, because you know, at this point right here, I'm hunting bass and I can tell what I'm going to use and what I'm not going to use. You know, to keep lugging around a a tackle box just full of stuff just because I own it doesn't make any sense. So I transferred a lot of it to another tackle box. It'll sit there on the shelf. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll go after bluegill, crappie, something like that, and I'll grab that stuff. But for right now, I don't need it. Yeah, for right now, I don't need all that stuff. There's no reason to have it. Hey, if you ever need to put Band-Aids on your thumb, you know, I don't know. I guess anybody that knows first aid would know this, but I always wrap one Band-Aid around this way, and then I wrap one this way, and then you always have those little ears sticking up. And I just take some scissors and just trim them little ears off like that right there, and it works pretty good. And it'll hold all day just like that right there. Jeep Liberty patiently waits for me and the Selvin to come back. That are pulling off the water. I bet it won't be long I'll be the only ones out here. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to camp tonight. Means I'm in no hurry at all. I can fish to about an hour before dark. Now I did not set up camp before I actually put on the water. So I have to set camp up. You know, it takes about 30 minutes or so. You know, really to set my tent up takes 5 minutes. But, you know, I like to get everything organized and stuff on the boat stuff too. Last time I was camping, you know, I was in there sleeping, and all of a sudden I heard some noises in the boat. I thought, Selvin ain't gonna sit out there and just start making noises on its own. Sure enough, I think a raccoon or something had got in there and started rummaging around, eating these little bars for a snack, and I had some of these wrappers stashed in the boat and stuff, so the raccoons were going for them. Yes. Well, it happened. Look at that. Green pumpkin comes through. Well, it happened. Look at that. Green pumpkin comes through. Hello, buddy. Oh, my goodness, he is so cold. All right. There we go. He's a little guy, but he's a fish in the boat. There we are. Hello, buddy. There we go. Okay. He is so cold. I mean, I can't believe you can really tell how cold these fish are once you catch one like that. But there we go. Yes, didn't get skunked. I hope you warm up a little bit. I hope you grow up to be a big guy, and I'll check you out another time. All right? See ya. Woo! He gone. Yeah, made me so nervous catching that fish. I didn't even want to grab my net. I didn't even want to take the chance of even trying to grab a net. I was just hoping that I was going to be able to bring him in. Man, he was barely hooked. I mean, barely. Now, I also caught that on my older spinning rod, my Samurai spinning rod, but this weekend I did put new line on it. Now, when I say new line, I bet the spool has got to be a decade or more old, maybe longer than that. It was trilene monofilament, 8 pound. I had a nice row in there, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and use it. What I don't like about it is it's got like a bluish tint to it. Apparently that fish didn't see it, so maybe it's going to work okay. We'll see. All right, back to fishing. Put the hook in the side, just barely in there, If it wouldn't have been for that, I don't think I would have hooked him. So Randy Blockett was the one that informed me how to do that. Go to his YouTube channel, Intuitive Angling, Randy Blockett. I tell you what, there we go. Hook it on the side, barely, and you'll catch a fish like that. Chances are I would not have got him if it would have come through the middle. So I am now out on Celina Lake all by myself. All the boats have went home. It's around 3:30 in the afternoon, and everybody's went home. This is where it gets a little strange. This is why I prepare. Now, if something happens now, there's nobody out here. So in fact, now that I'm talking to the camera, it talks sense into my head. I think as soon as I get this lure in, I'm going to go ahead and put my life jacket on. Might as well, just in case something tripped me up and I fell in. I've got my ladder down over here so I can pull it down and climb back up on the selvin. But still, it would be a good idea to go ahead and have a life jacket on, because when you hit that water, it's got to be so cold. Wow. I've fallen in cold water like that before, and the first thing happens is you just you just lock up so bad. I know how much you folks love watching LAF, Space Film Fest, capital LAF, Space, Chop Film Fest. It's kind of nice being out here by myself. If not, I probably would have freaked the fisherman out. Anyways, you don't want to see Mr. Lawrence go in the drink and head down to the bottom, so I'm going to get that life jacket on just for you. Yeah, I would eventually like to have one of those ones that inflate if you hit the water. Those seem to be about the most comfortable to wear. But you know what? The temperatures are nice and cool out here today. This isn't going to be too hot to wear. There. I already feel better. That's for everybody that comes and watch my video. That's for my sweetheart at home. That's for my furry kids at home. That's for my kids, grandkids, my parents, everybody. Mr. Lawrence is now safe. To my grandkids, that's Papa's now safe. All right, let's keep on fishing. That almost looks like a lenticular cloud. Maybe it is. Usually see those forming at the top of mountains. I'm kind of watching this weather, watching these clouds, because I think there's a chance of rain moving in tonight. Not much, maybe 30% chance or so. But then tomorrow evening, and big change on Friday. Temperature's supposed to drop, high winds, and probably some severe storms coming through. I like to watch the weather days in advance, so if I'm ever out in the wilderness and I don't have a phone or any way to check the weather, I can always just figure it out myself. Okay, I got to show you this. You know how I'm all the time saying how I will show you, if I make a mistake out here, I will definitely show you the mistake. I think a lot of videos out there cut out all the bad things and it just makes it look like it's a perfect day, everything goes great. So here's what just happened. Freaked me completely out. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and use that June bug lizard. The June bug lizard is rigged up on my brand new Lew's reel and rod. I mean, nice setup. I set the camera up in the back of the Selvin here. And I thought, okay, well, a lot of times you don't see the view like from the very back of the Selvin up front. So what that would look like. So anyways, I set it up. I walk back up here. You know, I go cruising back up here. Just like this. Went to grab my Lew's, and it's not here. And I'm like, what? So I look over here, and I look there, and I look over here, and I look over there, and I look over there. Now I ain't kidding you. It took me to my knees. I started looking over the gunnels of the Selvin, seeing if by chance the Lew's super light rod and reel might be floating. It's not. I'm going, oh my gosh, man, I was just like starting to freak out. It's like, are you kidding me? And in fact, I even hatched a plan that fast to take this jerkbait right here, and I was going to lower it down in the water down below here and see if I could bob it up and down and maybe catch it. If it's down there on the bottom, maybe I would catch it. So I stood back up, shook my head, determined, okay, there's no reason to get mad about it. Things happen. It's just the way it is. Stood back up like this right here. Went to step back into the Selvin. There it is. Yep. I set it here in order to get down and mess with the camera and get it all set up. Came back and it just that quick skipped my mind that I had set it up here. Wow. Fishing brain, I guess. I don't know. That's crazy. But there it is. Sitting there like a jewel, waiting to be worn. Now, you know, sometimes if you get mad and throw stuff, cuss, get crappy with the people around you and stuff like that, you know, it doesn't do any good. And I think karma kind of sets in a little bit. Here comes a big old wind gust coming at me. Karma sets in a little bit, and you're never going to find what you're looking for. But in a case like this, sometimes you just calm down, accept the fact, all right, you made a mistake, it fell in, just go on with it. You turn around, bam, there it is. Magically appeared. Poof! Pretty cool. Thank you, Karma. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to pull the anchor. Tell you what, it's starting to get a little bit chilly out here. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I still have to load the Selvin up, get it on the trailer, take it to the camp, and I still got to set my camp up. And you know, it's still a few hours before dark, but that all takes time to do that. At least get closer to the boat ramp over here and maybe call it a day. One fish in the boat. Definitely hooked one just a little bit ago. Got off. Didn't feel like a real big one, but it did. It definitely was on there. I could tell the fish was on there. And it had a couple pretty good strong bites today. So that's encouraging about tomorrow. I think. Okay. Gonna go ahead and head to the boat ramp. Work it out. get one shot at it. If it don't work, I'll have to pull the trailer out and try to get the selvin on the other side. Here we go. I forgot I had my ladder down. I gotta get my ladder back up. It's hitting the back here. That was very successful. Doesn't always work that way. I could have never done that last year, especially this time at the beginning of the year last year. I had no idea how to launch the selvin or how to put it back on the trailer. You know, probably went out 16 times at least last year, and now this year this is my second time out already and feeling pretty comfortable with doing it. Now here's the nice part about camping. So I've got all this stuff. If I was going to head home right now, I'd have to put all this back together, make sure it's ready for the interstate at 65 miles an hour. All I got to do is drive up to the campsite, park, and then I've got all evening to get all this reorganized, straightened back up, and ready for tomorrow. Should be a pretty good night's sleep. It's supposed to get down around 55 degrees, so it's going to be a little bit chilly, but I've got a good sleeping bag. I'm not worried about it. Gonna actually maybe think about having a fire. I got some firewood right over here that I might go ahead and grab some pieces, throw them in the boat, go back there, chop them up, and burn them tonight. North Face Campground, beautiful. You know how they say you always learn by your mistakes? Well, last year I came and I took the selvin, put it on the trailer, only had the front hook on, drove it to the campsite. It's not very far away. It's not even a mile away. Put it in the campsite, got to looking at it, and the selvin slipped back a little bit. And it's so heavy that there's no way I wanted to put that much pressure on the crank to try to crank it up. Had to turn around, come back, float it back in the water so I could get it up where it needed to be. And sure, and put these back straps on. That way it secures it. It won't slip backwards as you go back up to the campsite. That's good enough. That'll get me to the campsite. Well, there's the lineup for today. The lizard, I think I got a couple bites on the lizard, but no fish in the boat with the lizard. This guy right here, this was just a giant spinner bait, and I put I don't know, some kind of a giant hog on the back, like for a tail. Tried it a few times, really didn't fish it much, didn't do much good. I noticed that the jerkbait that I've got, boy, in a lake with a lot of weeds, it's hard to fish. You really got to keep it moving. I'm not so sure the fish are that active right now for you to have to move it that fast, you know, going across the water. You got to move it pretty fast. If not, it gets weeds on it. But there's the champion for today. One fish in the boat and probably at least one hooked on its way, and probably 2 or 3 pretty good bites. So the green pumpkin wins the race today. Yeah, when it comes to the North Face Campground, very rarely do you have anybody there. So it's like that Verbo commercial. You got the whole place to yourself. Here I am at my Southern Indiana home away from home. North Face Campground. No matter what site you pick, well, there might be a couple of them that aren't great, but most of them are just perfect. Even without the leaves, you can see you've got a lot of privacy. You know, you got the choice between the North Face campground, or you can go over to the South Slope campground. Both of them are just tremendously nice. Always nice to be back. Hoosier National Forest. You gotta remember, when you camp in the Hoosier National Forest, you camp almost in any campground. Patoka, recreational areas, same way. You cannot bring firewood in unless it is approved. I don't know who approves it, maybe the federal government. There's got to be some kind of an organization, but it has to be, they're trying to stop the ash borer from spreading. So, you know, unless you know it's certified, it's wrapped up, it has certification with it, don't bring it into the campsite, don't bring it into the state park, don't bring it into the recreational areas. If it's deadfall, it's got to be dead. And if it's laying out here in the forest, you can go and grab it and chop it up and bring it over and start your fire. So that's what I've done tonight. They had a dead tree cut down right by the boat ramp, and so I grabbed some pieces, put them right here. I'll have me a nice little fire tonight. Especially this time of year, twigs and stuff are going to be everywhere because there's been nobody here. So that's going to be easy to get my fire started tonight. That'll be nice. I usually don't have a fire anymore, but you know what? Tonight it's supposed to get down around 55. It's going to be a little chilly once I get everything set up. Once I eat supper, I think I'm going to light it up and sit around the fire for a little bit. That'd be nice. Now this time of year makes me a little bit nervous going out there because the ticks and everything usually get so bad. I did spray deep woods off underneath my pants legs and then on my clothing, but you know what? Once they really come out, the ticks are bad. You need to use Sawyer on your clothing in order to repel them and get them away from you. Deep woods off on your clothing, once they get bad, they'll still crawl right up your clothing, no problem. Hey, if you are new to camping, the one thing you want to do before you set your tent up is you want to clear the tent site. I know that sounds like pretty elementary advice, but you know what? I actually made the mistake when I went backpacking with Jazz probably about a month and a half ago. Thought I had it cleared, went to sleep at night, and just started feeling stuff underneath me that shouldn't have been there. I should have cleared it better. So make sure you clear everything out of the way so you have a nice pad to sleep on. So here's the thing about camping, especially if you're a beginner. Hey, get out there now. It's the middle of March. You got March. You have into April. There's not going to be any bugs. There may be a tick or two out there, but you're not going to have any mosquitoes. Most of the spiders aren't out yet. So, you know, get on out there. Especially if you're scared of bugs, get on out there. It's going to be a little chilly at night, but it warms up in the daytime. It's well worth it. If you wait until Memorial Day and start camping, well, you not only have all the people that have come out, but you have all the bugs that are out too. You can still deal with that. Hey, bugs don't bother me any. You know, I don't like a black widow, but besides that, bugs just don't bother me that much. I just know they're out there. I know it's their home. I'm visiting their home, so I just try to deal with them. So if you get a chance, take that tip. Get out there now. Now's the time to camp. Next 60 days. Perfect. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to set up a tent, gets frustrated with the poles, trying to put them together, where do they go, all that kind of jazz, hey, if you're that kind of person, get you a Gazelle. A Gazelle tent is the way to go. So easy, pops up, you never have to worry about anything. You can do it literally in about 5 minutes. So there you go. That's a Gazelle tent. That's a T4. They made it in green and they make it in orange. and then it goes all the way up from a T4. I think there's a T6, T8. Gigantic tents. But that one right there is big enough for a family of 4. By yourself, it's like a condo, no doubt. By the way, when I talk about coming out early, still bring some deep woods off with you just in case mosquitoes do hatch. Hey, you're going to want to put some on just to make sure that you don't get. Another tip for you in case you decide to get a gazelle. Make sure you always stake it down at least all around the corners. Stake each corner down no matter what. Even if it's a calm day, just stake it down. Because you never know, you could go off somewhere and a gust of wind comes up or some kind of a little front starts moving in, and these will fly away. It's like a box kite. So you gotta stake them down, but once you stake them down, and if it's really windy, put your guidelines down. Solid tent. I've had it on Lake Superior, camped on it on Lake Superior with strong winds, held up just fine. All right, so then you can see that with the cot in here, you could easily put 2 cots side by side and have room for gear. There's a lot of room all the way around. But if you did use 2 cots like this one right here, that's about maxing it out, I would think. I've figured out that if I lay my cot, I used to have my cot like against this side right here. But once again, I always have that trouble with my pillows wanting to fall off the end of the cot. What I figured out last year was I just bump it right up against the side like that. Yep. This was like being a YouTube creator. All this gear right here, all this stuff, camera gear, ways to charge my batteries because, you know, I'm running 3 cameras during the day. I've got to be able to charge all those batteries up for tomorrow, make sure they're all ready to go. Cell phone, all that kind of stuff. It's just what it is. It almost seems natural to me, but I've got camp all set up, getting ready to eat some supper. Then I'll probably start me a little fire, hang out for a while, get a good night's sleep, get back out on those bass tomorrow. Hey, I know they knew I was there. I could feel their eyeballs looking up at me. Hello, Mr. Lawrence. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Kind of hear the celestial blanket starting to set in. That was crazy today on the lake when those frogs, I was in that one cove and all of a sudden the frogs just ignited. But they only did it for maybe 2-3 minutes and then done. Weird. Maybe they were just kind of testing their voice, making sure they could still croak for when the croaking season comes, and it's coming fast. Spring is on its way. I just talked to the man in charge out here, Lonnie. Lonnie's been in charge for a long time, many years. He said everything's going good. He said he's looking forward to a good year. Solar eclipse coming in April. I think I'm going to go out and take the Selvin out on the lake, sit out there in the lake and fish and just watch it at the same time. That might be pretty cool. I wonder how the fish are going to react. It might freak them out. I don't know. I also saw something on YouTube the other day. There was a lady and she was talking about cicadas. She said what's going to happen this year hasn't happened in over 200 years. And there's 2 species of cicada. I guess species is the right word, but there's 2 different kinds, and they're both going to hatch at the exact same time. Indiana is definitely one of them. Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee. There's a whole squadron of area right there, the Midwest. And I tell you what, I've been here before. When they've been here, wow. In fact, I got it on a video. I thought there were sirens going off. I thought there was like police or firemen or something when I first got out of the vehicle because it's like, what the heck? Till I realized it's cicadas. Crazy, man. Mother Nature, crazy. He says they're expecting a big crowd out here for the solar eclipse in April. So you might want to try to get reservations if you're thinking about camping. You might want to go ahead and get reservations. I think they only reserved so many of them. And then it's first come, first serve. You're going to see Lonnie go by in just a minute here. He got him a new 4-wheeler. There he comes. And there he goes. He's the man. Hey, like I say in some of my videos, don't come to Indian Celina Lake and cause trouble. Because if you do, tear stuff up, whatever, old Lonnie's on it. If Lonnie can't handle it, here comes the sheriff and the state police. Indiana State Boys. Yeah, it's a nice place. I like it here. Southern Indiana beauty. Okay, well, nightfall is almost here. I'm glad I decided to get off the lake when I did, because I'm just now eating my sandwich and eating a few things for supper. It took that long to set camp up and to get the selvin back in order. Just a lot of things. I'm glad I got off the water early. Boy, it's nice and calm, but the winds will pick up tomorrow. But hey, I'm going after those bass. Get you a good night's sleep. We'll try it again tomorrow. We'll see what we can throw to catch them. Hey, bass hunting in southern Indiana, the great Midwest. Night has fallen.